Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to have Kystina come on with us. In the meantime, I'm going to give everybody a chance to welcome themselves on. My name is Carlie. Thank you for being on my channel, Consciousness with Carlie. Today, we are going to talk about the current energies because this has been wild. Hey, guys, thanks for popping on. There you are, Krystina. Add yourself first and let me see if I can get you on. If that doesn't work, then I'll request. So just request. In the meantime, guys, we are, hey, Sassy and Me 2017. Hello. Current energies, guys. What the heck? I mean, last week was the most intense energy week for me. Seriously, it was wild. And I know it was for all of you too. Stacy Bennett, hey, thanks for being on. Okay, I got a request. Make sure my volume is up. Okay, I accepted your request, Krystina.
Hello.
It worked. We're so good.
Oh my gosh, I'm so surprised. I'm excited and surprised because every time I try to go live, it turns into some crazy technical nightmare.
I know. And what's weird about it too is that we can't see it until after.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it looks clear while we're live or if it looks fuzzy. So we'll just ask our fellow brothers and sisters, you guys, let us know if the audio sounds weird, if the video sounds weird. We can do what we can do while we're on here, but at the moment, we're just going to start diving into this, right?
Yeah, and I'm happy I can see you because every time I've gone live in the past, I cannot see who I'm talking to, and I've even heard telephones ringing in the background. So this is a blessing for me.
I asked our guides, I was like, give us a clean, clear message today, everybody. We need this.
We do. We so do. Oh my gosh. How are you today?
I'm really good. I feel light and I feel energy, which I normally don't feel this type of energy, Krystina.
Yeah.
For me, it's amazing. How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. What's funny is I think I slept 2 hours last night. I went through another activation where I was up channeling all night long, but I woke up this morning after those 2 hours and I was dancing around my house and ready to go. Just like you said, just like light and like, let's do this. And I feel amazing. And I'm like, how is this happening after 2 hours of sleep? I have no idea.
Don't you feel like it's almost like we're defying all odds right now as starseeds?
Absolutely, absolutely. And these energies, I mean, I know for some people, I heard you talking when I was trying to do the requesting about last week, and maybe we can talk a little bit about that for everybody, but because some people are still there, but these energies are really creating so much change for us on a DNA level that it's just absolutely amazing to me. And yeah, I love how we're feeling so supported. You can feel the change in the air. It's like every day feels like a new shift. Did you notice that? Like every day is like a new timeline.
It is. And it's finally a good one. Finally.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And I know for a fact, and because I've received this message every single day through the last 2 weeks of this intense stuff we've been going through, right? Specifically the last 8 days, that there's energy that's inside of us. We know this. It's clearing itself out. You're not going to bypass it. You have to go through it. But what you do have control over is how long you want to prolong that process. You have that control. You came here to move it, but you have control on the speed. And that's what I've been shown. So for a lot of people, it is, I mean, my girls that I talk to, girls as in like soul family member women, they're purging, puking, like on the floor, bawling. And this has been going on for 7 days, some of them weeks. It hasn't ended. Like they'll get a little break. I've noticed between everyone that's going through this, they either asked for acceleration in the ascension process and they got it, right? And I remind them, if you asked to accelerate, you're just clearing all the stuff you were going to have to do anyways. If it's too much for you, ask your higher self to dial it down. You're going to prolong the process. That's okay. As long as you're aware, if it's too much, just pull it back a little bit and it'll process itself out. Some of us, we're like, you know what, whatever, kill me with it. Let's go, because I'm tired of this. Like, I'm ready, you know? And the ones that have really allowed themselves to just go to that 0 point, which is a lot of times you don't even want to be here anymore. It's that type of 0 point, right?
Yes.
And I went through that last month. And then when this full moon cycle came around and these energies came around, I felt, wow, I don't have to clear anything for the first time in my life. And I knew it. I said, this time around, I'm not clearing. I'm jumping. I'm
Yeah.
timeline jumping. I'm not clearing the old one out. And as we're clearing it out, we're still timeline jumping, but you'll get to a point where you'll recognize, oh, I think I did it. Like, I think I graduated, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love all of that. And I really love that you said about not wanting to be here anymore, because that's something I've been wanting to touch on a little bit for people, because I think we all go through that as star seeds or light workers, whatever you want to call us, that we really need to really look into, because it's the ego death, right? It's actually the neurons inside of us, the programming of who we are, who doesn't want to be here anymore. And then it can trip up those suicidal ideations for some people. And I hear this a lot in my DMs, which is why I wanted to bring that up, because I think that we have to some degree, create an open dialogue about it. And I'm not saying I'm a doctor or a medical professional. If you need medical professional help, please go get some. But just know that if you're having thoughts of not wanting to be here anymore, if you're, if they're so intense sometimes that you just don't even know what to do with the emotions, we all go through that, right? Like Carlie just said, she was feeling it last week. I was too, you guys. Last week, I woke up I don't even know what day it was, to be honest with you. The whole week is a blur, literally a complete blur. I would walk into a room and not know what I was doing and have to go into the other room. But I woke up one day and everything just shifted, and I just knew I couldn't be here anymore. I was so sad. I was so miserable. And I actually dealt with a psychic attack that I had to work through, because I, of course, was in the frequency to attract it to me. And I worked through it, like you said, basically sitting on the floor, just going through my stuff. I was just sitting there crying and just letting everything that needed to come out of me, come out of me. But then by the end of that night, I felt a shift. And then by the next day, I felt myself being reborn again. Yep. So it's important when we're in those moments that we allow ourselves to remember that there is an aspect of us that's wanting to die. There is an aspect of us that we need to let go. And that's what it is. Maybe it's the identity that was born from a bad relationship. Maybe it's the identity that was born from when you were in that job and you were miserable and couldn't use your voice. Whatever it is for you, there is an aspect inside of us that we need to let die, so that the newer, more braver, more expanded version of us can be reborn into this world for the timeline for everything that we're going into now. So yeah, I just had to share that, because I've been wanting to talk about that in a post, but I just felt so concerned to just openly talk about something. But I feel like the more we can bring light to that kind of topic, will probably help a lot of people as well, because this is a very painful process at times, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So painful.
Everything you just said hit it all straight on. And I was hearing, as you're speaking, the old version of you does have to die.
Yeah.
And I just got chills all over my body, because if you want to become if you want to bring in the other dimensional aspect of you, the other ones have to go. We're adding another point to our sacred geometry, Merkaba, this is how I'm seeing it, like our sacred geometry matrix that we've created within ourselves. We're adding another angle. So as we add another angle and we start to see it differently, we are literally seeing ourselves differently. So the identity, like you just talked about, my last 2 clients in the last couple days, it's been all about solar plexus. All
Yeah.
of it.
Yep. Yeah, same here. Heart into solar plexus. What's been shown to me is it's the heart that has to connect into the solar plexus, so we're living a life that we love through into this reality. So I love that you said that, because yeah, and stomach problems, crazy stomach problems for myself and everybody I'm meeting. Are you having that as well?
So theirs isn't stomach, it's back. So it's
Oh,
right where the belly button is in the back. And this has happened multiple times in the last few days. And I'm like seeing the yellow energy. I'm seeing the identity. I'm seeing the ego death. And as you just talked about the heart chakra last night, instead of you saying it going heart down, they showed me it's that level up into. That's what they showed me,
oh,
because
yeah.
we cleared. So we started with the root. We started with the foundation years ago, right? And we purged that, we leveled up. We went into our sacral. We purged that, we leveled up. And I believe we did that earlier this year because me, as many as other feminines, our cycle has just been purging, purging, purging blood, right? Our feminine cycle, because it was purging all that energy out. Now we're in the solar plexus. And now people are starting to lose their sense of identity because it doesn't exist anymore. And it's showing up in their back health and that area, like you said, stomach, right? So it's just all the same message in multiple different angles. And last night I saw that dissolving so it could move up into the heart. And when we move up into the heart, that is fifth dimensional energy. We're not running from ourselves anymore with the solar plexus. We're done with that. We cleared it. Now we can start working on our heart. And that's going to be a whole nother level in itself. Because think about all of the pain that people have felt from loss of love, or believing that they lacked love, or that they were, abandoned in those areas. And abandonment really comes from that solar plexus. So I'm seeing everybody with these abandonment problems lately that are purging, like you said, with the stomach and then the back problems. It's clearing out. What does that tell us? Like, that's what time is, right? It's showing us through time how we purge and move into this new dimensional level of reality. And we want to be in the heart space. I want to feel love to that degree that we have felt in moments all the time.
Yeah, yeah, same here. Do you ever have those moments where you're just in a blissful place, whether it be outside or with loved ones or something, and you're just weeping with gratitude and you can literally feel your heart expanding? I love
Absolutely.
it. That's
Yep.
that's the way we've got to live, right? That's what we're moving into, and I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah, everything you just said was just so bang on. It just made so much sense. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, because that's exactly what's happening. We are having this huge heart expansion, and it makes sense if you think about it, because even in our external reality, as I'm thinking about everything in our external reality, all of the nonsense that's going on, it's going to force people to look into their hearts to find the compassion and the love for one another as we move through these tumultuous times that we're likely going into, right? And I don't speak
Yeah.
too much on that, but it just, as you said that, that's what it was coming to my mind, was that how interesting that everything's always a reflection. What we experience is always a reflection of us, and vice versa. But the external reality is about to go into some pretty heavy times, and it's going to force people to go right into their hearts,
Yep.
which is what's
I
needed.
just, as you're talking about this, I've been receiving insight, okay? And I was shown all of the political stuff, okay? I have to bring it up. It has to do with identity. It has to do with choosing a side, choosing what you stand for, right? We're purging that out. Look at our outer world. Look at the external world. It's your mirror. What is it showing you? It's showing you that those systems are not working. And it's that war within yourself that you're seeing everywhere out there. It's clearing itself out in the physical. That's huge. That means that we're moving into a new way of reality. And so I was just being shown that with all the politics stuff that's going on, that so people can take that and recognize that that stuff that you're seeing is you. It's mirroring back to you. The crumbling, the identity that no longer belongs. We can't move into a fifth dimensional state if we're holding on to the past, because the fifth dimensional state, we don't know what that is as a human right now. We can
Right?
imagine it. We can imagine it, but that still is not doing it justice. The only thing we can do is focus on the present moment and what is being shown to us in the world. The only reason why the world is being shaken up to the point that it is right now is because we created it from within.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going into a time where everybody has to see it. We're aware of it, but we're going to watch it play out externally. And it's got to force people to go within, like you just said, so that they can be aware of what's going on around them. And then we shift it. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to shift this world, but we have to go through the crumbling of it, like literally go through the crumbling of it before we can begin to rebuild it. And that's what we're going to experience in the coming months.
Right. And
Yeah.
that is why you guys, everyone that's on here and that's going to be watching the replay, that's why you feel like you're dying. That's why you're on your hands and knees sobbing because you don't want to be here anymore. Well, guess what? That version of you doesn't. It doesn't exist in the fifth dimension. It has to go.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely has to go. And then we have to step into our hearts and recognize what it is that we love that we want to bring into this reality. That's the timeline that we're going into. And that's what I see for 2025. When we go into 2025, it's going to be almost like a rest year. I know I just recently learned it's the year of the snake, which makes perfect sense, right? Because this is the dragon year. Everything is just getting lit up, kind of like in the Game of Thrones where she just comes through town and she just burns it up. Yeah. And then next year is when the Kundalini is going to rise, that serpent's going to rise right back up through the spine of all of the entire world. But we're going to be in a rest year. But the rest of this year is going to get very, 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 very noisy externally and internally. So we've got to really pay attention to what's coming up for us. And if we need to sit on the floor and cry, cry. If we need to sit and journal, journal. For me, the night of the full moon the other night, I just shut all of my devices off. And here's what I love to do. I love to write out all of the stuff that's bothering me about myself, because we all have looping thoughts, right? We all have these looping thoughts of I'm not good enough for this. You guys, some of you guys know I'm open about this. For me, getting online, it's terrible. The moment I see my face on camera, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't even want to talk because it's just so awkward for me. So
Yes.
I'm working through all of these like voices inside of my head constantly. And so the night of the full moon, I just wrote out every insecure thought, every looping thought that I have, and I made a list of them. And then I made a list of the opposite. So, right, so if it was, I don't want to see myself on camera, it was, when I'm on camera, maybe I'll help one other person and that matters to me, right? So I made the exact opposite. And then I took the old list and I burned it and I did like a little sacred moon ceremony. But it's about being brave enough, being unconditionally loving to ourselves to such a degree that we're able to see the aspects of ourselves without judgment that needs to be let go of, and say, you know what, to your 15-year-old self, I love you and you taught me this. Now take my hand because you're coming with me. We're going somewhere different. To your 5-year-old self, you did deserve to be seen and I love you, and take my hand and we're going into the future where people are going to see you and love you. And loving all of these aspects of yourselves, and then recognize that those aspects of ourselves are what's being triggered as we go through this entire purge, whether it's something with your own personal life. I know a lot of people are having relationship shifts, job shifts, and all that kind of thing, and simultaneously going through the big shifts politically. And we're going to see the systems change and the, you know, all of the little, I don't want to say little, but the big but little wars that go inside, like, you know, about the vaccines and the schools and the systems and all of this stuff. We're going to have to see the underbelly of all of it, just like we have to see the underbelly of ourselves. And that's what we're moving into. And we have to love them. We have to love those parts of ourselves that we would rather not see. We have to love those people on the other side of the political belief system that we might not like. We have to love them because they are also aspects of us, of our consciousness, that we've all co-created this world together. And that when we get to that point, that's when the good stuff happens.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and we're seeing that with everything, you know. I know that everybody that's on here listening, it's because they have a call to this inner truth. You know, it's an inner truth. We're not having people that are on this live right now that they wouldn't be able to hear us. They couldn't even understand what we're talking about because it's in a different frequency.
Yeah.
So the people that are going to be, you know, the general public they're behind, right? They're behind, but they're still us. So we get to see them. We get to see us when we were there, because
Yeah.
we were all there. And
Yeah.
we rose above it so that way we could see ourselves in them, you know. And it's going to be very interesting watching this mirror of people and what's going to happen with the world. But you know, honestly, I I just I just stay the observer right now. I just stay the observer and stay away from absorbing it. I had a client the other day ask me, you know, how do you do sessions with people and not take on all their energy? And I'm like, uh, I don't. I don't absorb their energy. He's like, well, you don't think about it afterwards? And I'm like, of course I do. I'm thinking about my clients all the time. I'm thinking about my people all the time, but it's in a different energy. It's not in the low energy that they think they're in, because I don't see them that way. I don't
Yep.
see them that way. So I'm not going down into their energy that they believe that they're in, because I'm reflecting back to them what I know that they are,
Yeah.
that I'm waiting for them to see.
Yeah. You see the champion in them.
Right.
Yep.
In all of them. And
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And we're going to get to see that with everybody as we move forward into this. And that's
Yeah.
where forgiveness comes into play. And when you forgive, you learn more about loving yourself in a way that you didn't before. So if anybody is having the opportunity right now, the opportunity where they feel hurt or something by someone, it's an opportunity for you to learn how to forgive them, so you can have a reflection of forgiveness back to you, and ultimately be in a place of peace. And when you recognize that every atom that's in your body is a vibrational frequency created of light, and as fast as that vibration is moving is what the frequency that it is, then you can start recognizing how you're creating your reality, you know, based off of vibrational frequency. So if somebody is coming at you and it's hurtful, you don't need to lower your frequency to be where they're at, so that way you can be hurt with them. They're only hurting you because they're hurt. So if you can just have, that's where compassion, forgiveness, peace, all of that comes into play when you focus on who you want to be. You
Yep.
know, who do I want to be? I'm not going to let their pain affect me. You can love somebody while they're in that, even while they're hurting you, and have enough boundaries to say, I don't want you in my experience. That doesn't mean that I don't love you. I,
Yes.
I, I'm having a boundary. You know, it's like, even when you think about the story of Jesus Christ, it's like he wasn't out just hanging out with everybody all the time. He would just disappear. He would show up, he would be who he was intended to be for them, and walk away, still loving them. He didn't have to go down into their frequency and be around them, you know?
Yep. So powerful. And this is like, I'm always shown mirrors, like reflections, because ultimately everybody's reflecting. Well, we're getting to a point where the karma within us is collapsing, right? So I always, when I work with somebody, it's like in our lifetimes, whether it's in this lifetime or past lifetime, we might have gone from the victim to the perpetrator, or the victim to the perpetrator, bad guy, good guy. And in this lifetime, we're having all of that collapse down inside of us. And so everything you're saying, it resonates with a lot of stuff I'm seeing in session, is what I'm getting at, where everything is a reflection back to us. We might be in a relationship where somebody's abusing us, and if we are, that's because we're believing we're the victim, so they're reflecting back to us that we're the victim. We might be in a relationship where we're just not feeling seen. That's because we don't see ourselves. And so when we can, like you said, forgive them and recognize that their sole purpose in our lifetime, in our experience, their soul contract, if we want to go into that way, their soul contract is to reflect back to us what it is we need to see within ourselves, so that we can then face it, heal it, let it go, and then forgive them, let them go. And then what's interesting is when that happens, what happens is, the way it's always shown to me is like, imagine two mirrors who are always reflecting back to one another. So when mirrors begin to shift, when this mirror shifts, when you forgive them and let them go, and you shift your mirror, the reflection that they're showing back to you shifts, and then they don't know who they are anymore. So they either have to evolve with you or evolve away from you. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that we're having happen right now. And the point, like Carlie was saying, to get to the point where like Jesus was, Jesus knew his own reflection. So when he looked at other people, he was already beyond that karmic loop where he wasn't looking at somebody else and still needing those lessons, because that's really all it is, right? We're needing lessons, or we're needing growth or expansion or balance within ourselves. So until we find the balance within ourselves, we're constantly subconsciously seeking it in our relationships and in our external circumstances. So he was able to, or I don't, in his lifetime, he found his balance. And so when he would walk into a room, what's beautiful about him, and this is what's going to happen to all of you guys, and this is what we're being guided to do, is you know yourself to such a degree that you don't need a reflection of someone else back to you, because you are your own sovereign being. You are living right from your heart center. You are living right from the truth of who you are. And so that's when we are co-creating our reality, or creating our reality, and then ultimately co-creating our reality together. So that's the reason why we find ourselves sitting on the floor crying. That's the reason why we find ourselves completely lost with these looping thoughts, because the reflections of who we've been is changing right now at such fast and varyingable degrees because of the quantum timeline jumps that we're having, that it's causing us to really have to shed and purge. But the goal is to get to that place where we don't need a reflection from somebody else to know who we are. And then when we're at that point, that's when the beauty of life can truly unfold for us, right? And I just have to say, because a lot of people, like anybody watching us, they don't know, and I've told Carlie this, back in 2020 and 2021, I was a person who was never on social media. I didn't do anything on social media. And I used to follow Carlie. Carlie would put up her posts back then, and it was her post that kept me going, right? It was her post when I was having a bad day, watching all the shenanigans play outside in the world, and it was just all sorts of random stuff going on in my own personal life too, because I've evolved a lot since then, obviously, to be able to sit here and talk about this stuff. I would receive downloads and channeled message and stuff, but I did not have the courage, or I did not have the bravery to like get online and want to help people with it. I just wasn't even sure what I was supposed to do with it yet. But I would sit and watch Carlie and listen to her talk, and her messages would keep me going, and it was so helpful for me. And I'm sharing that because I want to point out to you guys that while you might be aware of the deeper truths of what's happening around you and all of that stuff, but you're still living in a family situation or within a relationship or something where you don't know what's happening for you, you are right now in the process of your evolving, where you're going to at some point be helping other people, right? Where she helped me, it's like she passed the baton to me, and now years later we became friends because she reached out to me. We ended up connecting here on IG. So for me, this is like a blessing to be able to sit here with somebody who I so admired, and I still admire, years ago, but to be able to sit here on a live and be able to feel comfortable enough to show my face, because that's something that I had to deeply work through. And I'm sharing all that with you because you guys are going through this. We're all going through this. This is the process, right? This is the process, and we inspire one another. So thank you, Carlie, for inspiring me all those years ago. You didn't even know me, but here you are helping me to get to the point where I am now. And now we're friends, and I think it's awesome.
Thank you. It means a lot because, you know, when I first started my Instagram, it was the scariest thing I had ever done. And I remember my first live that I did, I hosted a sound bowl ceremony. And it was so scary. My heart was racing and I couldn't breathe. And I was live and I was having a panic attack while I was live. And it was my first live. And it was very, you know, this was 3 years ago. I was like 25. And I remember how terrifying it was. And I remember my higher self saying, you're going to have to get through this. Like, you're just going to have to get through it. Just start doing it. Perfect it later. You know, don't think too much about it. And actually, the energy as I was doing this live was so incredibly intense. I was sobbing and my eyes were closed and I was crying so hard while I was doing this sound bowl meditation. And when I opened my eyes, my camera had shut off. So while it was happening, I don't know what happened, but it glitched out. I think my guides probably shut it off because it was so intense, the energy that I was in, and they shut it off. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because I mean, I was in it hard and I was like, oh, like, you know, like, I just love you guys. And it was so intense. But it was such a beautiful space for me. And it's so amazing to hear you say that. I was able to do that for you because I was in the same thing as well, where I didn't feel like I was good enough. I wasn't confident. I was scared. I didn't understand my abilities or what was happening to me. I was in the most enlightened time of my life. And earlier on in this live, you talked about, haven't you ever felt when your heart's just exploding? Well, when I started my consciousness channel, it was because of that. It was the COVID era, and I wasn't really, I was spiritually awakened, but not really conscious about anything yet. And so I started seeking, what can I do? What can I do? What do we do as a people? And that's when I started listening to other people and realizing, oh, I can change the world by just changing me. So I started focusing on me and what I need to do. Well, like 6 or 8 months into it, I was listening to The Way of Mastery. And if you haven't listened to The Way of Mastery, it's an audiobook. It's free on YouTube, and it's a channeled book that Jesus Christ wrote. So it's a human who wrote it, but it is the Christ consciousness that comes through, and that is the book. You'll know this because you'll resonate so hard that it will change your life forever. And I was laying in bed listening to this audiobook, and he said this one term. He said, the orgasmic love of God. And when he said that, it clicked something inside of me, where I was laying in bed and my whole body just started vibrating and buzzing off of the bed. I felt like I was levitating, and I probably was, because the vibrational frequency was moving so fast that I was starting to defy gravity. And tears, like I couldn't even cry, but just, when those tears and your heart's just expanding and exploding. And after I had, that was my first real true activation. And after I had that, my higher self, God, my guides. Hi guys, we were just on live and it cut off. So I made it a part 1 on the series. We're just going to go back into it and we'll finish it out for about another 15 minutes. So I'm going to let everybody come back on. We're going to get Kystina back on. These are some wild energies. Obviously, you can tell I've been crying because of the love and so much energy that's coming through with this. Yeah, so I feel you. But yeah, so I was just talking about the activation and how during COVID I kept asking, what do we do? How do we change this? And that's when I realized that it was me that I needed to change.
Yeah.
And once I got to the point where I had that activation during The Way of Mastery, that audiobook I told you guys about, please look it up on YouTube. It's a free audiobook.
What's the name again?
The Way of Mastery.
The Way of Mastery. And it's on YouTube?
Yes, and it's a channeled book through the Christ consciousness. So it's Jesus Christ speaking, and you will know it. You will feel it in your cells, and it will activate you because of the frequency.
Yeah.
And it happened to me. And so when you said earlier on in part 1 of this live about the heart, have you ever felt the heart expansion to that point? What I was getting at is, after that activation happened, Kystina, I am kidding you not, I would go out in public, no makeup, feel like I looked just like bland, and there were strangers running to the doors to open them for me. There were people asking me like, wow, you look so amazing. And I'm like, really? And then I was like, oh my God, they're feeling God. And
Yeah.
I was lit. I was like, oh, they're feeling it. They can see it. They can feel it. They're seeing it, and it was just absolutely amazing. Have to get off now. Make a note of that book. Yes, please make a note of that book. But yeah, it was absolutely incredible. So please look up The Way of Mastery. There's part 1, 2, and 3, and it changed my life. But that was 3 years ago. And that's when they said, and Carlie, now it's your turn. So all the people I was listening to, and they were my mirror, it was now my turn to be that mirror. And I was scared. I'm like, how can I be that? And it taught me a whole new level of courage and confidence and all of those different things that I was lacking. And that was just the beginning in learning those things. Obviously, we had years after that that took me down where I was crawling to the top, just trying to survive myself. And we had those levels and layers. So now I feel like we're getting back into that energy, that enlightened, heart expanded, just sober, beautiful, enlightened frequency. And I'm so excited to finally be in flow. It has felt like a block for years, and it was because it was myself. I had things I had to clear. I had things that I had to see. You know, I was able to use my Instagram, and it was a reflection for me to see myself and what I was capable of. And then I had to take a break and I had to heal and I had to move on to that next level. And I'm back. And that's why so many people are like, I'm so glad to see you back. So many spiritual leaders have fallen off. I'm like, they're just right in the middle of shedding. There's a blessing in the shedding, and they're right in the middle of it, and we've been in it, and we're moving through it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're so right. And this, I just want to say this, and if I'm moving things around, it's because we're having torrential downpour where I am right now. So I was moving it closer to hear you. There's nothing I can do about the weather, right? But yeah, so if I'm moving things around, it's because I'm just dealing with some crazy weather here. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being brave enough to get online years ago. Thank you for allowing yourself to share what was on your heart and reflect out to us the new reflection that you had found within yourself then, because that is how we change this world. And you changed my life. You were one of the people who, you know, helped shift who I became in that entire process. You were one of the people I was listening to going, you know, thinking to myself, nothing makes sense in my life. And then I would listen to you and I'd be like, this woman's making sense. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. And with that said, guys out there, if you're listening to this, I know sometimes you're just, you know, really in the darkness of it. You're really in the thick of it. That was me a couple of years ago when I discovered Carlie's content. And, you know, now I'm on the other side of it. And I still have my days, of course. We all have our days. That's part of this process. It's a continual shedding, like she just said. But you will get to the other side of it if you aren't already. And at some point, when you feel called to speak your voice, even if it's to the person behind you at the convenience store, even if it's to, you know, some coworker who you might not ever see again, whenever you feel called to speak your truth with love, of course, do it, because that's how we're shifting this world. That's what it is. We have to walk now in such authenticity with who we are that the holographic reality that is all around us begins to reflect back to us the authenticity of who we are. And that's how we shift this entire world from the inside out, right? It starts with that one, just one of us. And, you know, that's how everything changes.
Right.
So,
Just like I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen the meme where it's like all the matches and it says it just takes one match. And that one match lit up all those other matches. And here we are now as a tribe. It's no longer one person like the Jesus Christ story, right? It's no longer that. It's a tribe. And we have been able to utilize modern technology to bring us together and defy all odds.
yes,
And they
I
can
love it.
they'll try and take us down and take us down, and guess that what that is giving us the opportunity to do, get back up and do it again. There's our courage, there's our strength. You know, I
Yep.
know so many spiritual leaders whose accounts get taken down all the time and they're right back on, and guess what, they have just as many if not more followers on there. So it's just like a crumble and a rebirth all over again. We don't give up, just keep going,
Yeah,
just keep going. But with
absolutely.
that being said, keeping going can also mean resting. Stop pushing yourself. Just let it happen. And I know it sucks. Nobody wants to just lay there. We came here to serve. So it goes against our organic nature when we want to serve the people and serve God. It goes against our nature to just lay there. That's because the ego, it's programmed to just go go go. But now we have this new energy and we want to really serve like in a new way. And guess what, when you are being asked to rest, it's so that way you can serve. And I know even for my husband, it took him, he had to be basically bedridden for 3 years. with the only explanation being his higher self and his guides telling him, you are on like energy points, you're on grid points, right? And you need to stay there in order for the energy to come through you and go through those points in the earth. And a lot of us star seeds are, a lot of us, if not all of us, have noticed that we're called to certain places and then we can't leave. And it's
Yes.
because we're not supposed to. And when
Yep.
you're ready to leave, when you're supposed to, you'll know. I just road tripped across the entire country with him to move to Florida in order to buy an RV that we didn't even have yet. We didn't know what we were getting. And have that leap of faith. And I knew that by doing that, I was going to feel pain. I was going to experience loss, like leaving my family and everything that I know behind, and truly leaving it behind, right? And I was called to do that because it wasn't just for me, it was for everybody. And I had to trust that. And I had to trust that by me leaving them, I'm actually serving them. And
Yep.
when I recognized my best friend and one of my twin flames, it's a female, she told me that. She channeled through it and said, Carlie, you are glitching them out. You're around your family and you're seeing more turmoil because your frequency is glitching out their hologram. It's trying to push you out because they need to heal their karma, and you're not in that. That's their karma. So if you're being called to leave or to stay and you don't know why you are being asked to go and you have nowhere to go and you don't know what the hell you're going to do, that is your faith. And the bridge to that multidimensional aspect of yourself, the bridge is faith. It's the unknown. It's not your higher self saying, okay, you're going to cross this bridge and then you're for sure going to have this. You're not going to get that because otherwise there would be no point in us being human. Why would we be human if we had the answers to everything that was going to happen for us? That's like watching a movie and them showing you the ending in the previews.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
No sense. Makes no sense, right? So we
Yeah.
just have to remember that.
Yeah, and by the way, kudos, because I've watched your journey. I watched your travels, and I'm just so proud of you for everything you're doing. It's similar for me. I lived in a house in Connecticut, and for me, I woke up one day and I was so miserable. I hated my life, hated it, couldn't stand it anymore. Long story short, I sold it. Now, 2 years later, I'm in the Blue Ridge Mountains, but I still have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea. I don't know where I'm going to be living in 2 months. That's how crazy my life is right now, but I just keep trusting the process. And something I keep seeing over and over in session that keeps coming up is people, they're like, I can't really hear my higher self clearly anymore. My guides aren't just telling me what I should do anymore. I don't know where I'm going to be next month, and I don't even know what I want anymore. And I want to share with you guys what's been shown to me. This is where we're being really forced to step into being our own creators, right? We know this. We know we are the creators of our own reality. We know that we came here to disrupt this world from the inside out in the most beautiful ways, of course. But we are really in these energies right now. Part of that reason why you're being called into your heart, part of that reason why you're being forced to step into your truth is because when you step into your truth and you align with what it is you truly love, that is when your soul can come in and imbued with your body and begin to lead you into the life that is truly meant for you. Up until then, you're living through your program. So whatever it is, we're living in, like her with her family, like me with my situation. I was living where I thought I was supposed to be. And then that's why I wasn't happy. But we've got to let that go because we are being taught how to be master manifestors. I have seen in the future where humanity will quite literally be able to, hold your hand out and imagine an apple, and an apple will appear. That is the capability of mankind. Your consciousness is so powerful that it can connect with the atomic structures around you and make that happen. But we've got to learn how to master it first. We've got to learn how to master it by connecting with our hearts, by loving ourselves, by allowing ourselves to truly love the path that we're on so that we can really begin to engage with the life that we're here to create with the energies around us, with all of the beautiful energies that are flowing all around us all the time, become the co-creators with them. And then that's when everything in this world is really going to shift and change. So yeah, so the reason why guides aren't showing up, the reason why you're not getting very clear answers anymore, you might even go to see psychics and they're like, well, I can see this is a potential, but this is a potential, but they can't give you definitives anymore. It's because they're not supposed to. You are being taught and forced to be taught how to become the creator of your own reality. And those are the times that we're walking into. And that's why you've got to master yourself, your thoughts, and align with your heart. And it's so, so beautiful, but it's simultaneously very, very scary at times. And that's why we do all the work, right?
Yeah, and that is another thing. Like, if you guys, I have a Starseed support channel on my Instagram. You can just join yourself. It's free. But pretty much every day when I receive a message for everyone to hear, I'll just type it up in there and it goes specifically to whoever is on that channel. So it's not stuff that I'm posting on videos. It's not stuff I'm posting publicly. It's just for you guys. And that was brought up a lot about this this faith over fear, and how when you're in fear, it's mirroring back to you where you lack courage. And
Yeah.
thank God that it can, because if it didn't, you would just lack courage forever and would never know, because you had nothing showing you where you were lacking that, or thought you were
It's
lacking.
powerful. Yeah. So true. So powerful. Wow.
Yeah, and it is scary. It is freaking scary at times for us. That's why faith is there. If it
Yeah.
wasn't scary, like, why would we have to have faith for something? It'd just be easy. We'd just be going with the flow. Things would just be working out all the time. And they do when you're in faith, but it's the ego has to die. I mean, even the ego mind has to die, because if you think too much about what's going to happen, you're kind of you're creating it. So you could go, oh, this might happen, and say it's a bad thing. Watch it show up. Be very careful about what you are choosing to speak into existence. It's energy, and you are the one creating it.
Yes.
And so yeah, I did, like, right now I'm living in an RV. It's beautiful. It's amazing, but guess what? I know that I'm going to be called to have to leave and leave and leave. So I need a home that's on wheels, right? So you have to tune into what your energy is telling you. What do you really want? Do you want to travel? Do you want to be free to move around? Think about getting a home on wheels. Do you want to be more grounded? Think about that. Because, and a lot of times we don't know what it is that we want. And that's why our higher selves push us into weird situations that don't make sense.
Yep.
Like, I never ever thought I would ever leave my family. I never thought that I would ever leave my job, my family, my roots of home in Utah. Okay. Never thought. And then I realized, oh, Carlie, the reason why you can't find an RV in Utah, the reason why is because you're blocking it out of fear of leaving. So it can't manifest. And that's when I told my man, I said, it's not you, it's me. I'm the reason why we haven't been able to find a home. And I didn't know that until it kept reflecting back to me failure. And I said, I'm done. I'm done failing. I'm going to jump, and we're going to move, and it's going to be hard. And it was. And my 0 point came in that move.
Wow.
And I was packing up my stuff, getting on a flight back home to where I was comfortable. And I'm like, oh my God, here's the cycle again. You'll never be able to escape your own loop, Carlie, because you keep going back to what you know. So how are you supposed to step into what you don't know and what you want? It was hard.
Yep.
It was hard, and it was scary. But guess what? I'm in Florida now. I'm by you. I can literally come see you
Yeah, you're
with
going
my
to.
house. I can
We're going to
bring
meet
my
up
house
soon.
to you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that.
It's crazy. But I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking that at the time when I was on the floor sobbing, packing my stuff up, looking for a flight back home, right? And thank God that whatever happened happened and that energy turned, because within 24 hours of that 0 point, you guys, I was in this RV 24 hours later.
And that's how it happens too,
Yep.
right? That when we surrender, and I just have to, because I want to just add one thing. First of all, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you. I hate saying that to sisters because it's like I don't ever want to sound like I'm condescending or something, but I'm just
No, I
so
love
proud
it.
and so honored to be, to call you sister and
Thank
friend.
you.
But you know what it is too, is you guys out there, if you have to also realize when we don't allow ourselves to succumb to what we're feeling, when we don't allow ourselves to do what Carlie did, where she just allowed herself to say, you know what, no, I've got to break this cycle. The cycle's broken for you, and that's when disease can happen. That's when accidents can happen. When your soul wants you somewhere, you will end up there no matter what. So if you don't allow yourself to follow the guidance and allow yourself to collapse on the floor and do whatever you got to do to get to the other side of it, it's going to be even harder because you might end up being in a situation that you got to get yourself out of. And I can tell you, because that's kind of the route I took. I was like, nope, I'm going to be fine. I can control. I'm a typical Aries. I can control my reality, right? I can do all of this. And then my whole life just came crumbling down, one piece after another, after another, after another. And it took me years to climb up out of the trenches of depression and suicide and everything else to be on the other side of it. So,
Yep.
there's two roads you can take. And I just want to say that to you guys. No matter what, you're being led to create your own reality. But we're in a time now where it's really about connecting with the heart and allowing ourselves to be heart-led instead of fear-led, right? There's only fear and love for emotions. That's all that there is in this reality. Everything
Yep.
else is a subcategory of them. So follow your heart or let your fear dictate your reality, in which case your soul will at some point say, yep, nope, I'm going to pick you up and put you over here. And you might not like how that happens. And we have to realize that, right? We have to get to that point where, like for me, I don't know where I'm going to be in 2 months, but I trust that the divine and my soul have something absolutely amazing in store for me. So I just keep showing up every day, doing the work. Some mornings I wake up and I'm like, some mornings I wake up and I'm in a little bit of a fear and I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. And that's when I do my work. I do my EFT or my journaling or something. And then I always put on music and I dance around my house like a crazy person for about 20 minutes and I have a good old time. And then I start my day, jump into session, and I meet all of you guys. And then everything begins to make sense again.
Yeah.
And we just have to keep getting up, faith over fear, every single day,
Yeah.
every single day.
And a lot of us don't know what that means or what that is. So let your outer world show you. It's your mirror. What is it telling you? It's that simple. It really is. Just look around. Are the people that you're around supporting who you want to be? Or are they keeping you in the old version that you were? Because if they're keeping you in the old version that you were, don't expect change. Like birds of a feather flock together. And that's why we're all right here, right now on this platform together. Because we're ready for change. We had to let go of people. We had to let go of family. We had to, in order to find each other. So we opened up the space.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You, I really appreciate you and everything that you've said and the heartstrings you've pulled on me today. It's been really amazing, and I just love everything that this live has been. I don't want it to shut off. Should we take like 3 minutes to talk about how we can help people with our personal gifts and what we offer?
Yeah, please. Yeah, let's do that. And then I just want to add just one quick thing, because a question I commonly get, and I'm wondering if you do too, is I'm always surrounded by people who aren't awake, and how do I navigate that, right? And I like to use the example of, imagine yourself as being a 5th grader who's visiting a 1st grader classroom. You're gonna feel alone, and they're gonna be talking about things that make no sense to you because you've evolved past that. But when you allow yourself to come from that more expanded perspective and remember that you have soul family, remember Carlie and I sitting here, remember the people in the other comment section, connect with people online, you guys. I've never even met Carlie in person, but she's been one of the biggest my biggest supporters, even before she knew me, to get to where I am now. So use the internet, use the tools at your fingertips. That's it, from a loving and God perspective, that's what's been shown to me why it's there, so that we can connect with each other and not feel so alone in our physical environment, because we all go through that. I went through that. It was one of the hardest parts of my journey. Please know you're not alone. And I just had to say that, because that's like one of the biggest questions I always get. So yeah.
You're not alone at all. At all. You guys, you have an entire warrior tribe. Imagine what that looks like. A tribe of people behind you wearing gold, gifted in God's light. Those are the people that are behind you, and they're just waiting. We're all just waiting to find each other, and we can only do it by finding ourselves.
Yes.
And then when we do that, they come and we show up for each other and we band together. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we've been doing. You're not alone. You have more people behind you than you could ever even imagine in your mind. And not just humans,
Yeah.
they're everywhere and they're watching you and they're supporting you. Even when you feel like they're not, they are.
Absolutely. And that brings me to tears because that's part of what's got me here is just knowing that they're all there and connecting with people online. It's just been
Yeah.
so powerful. Yeah. So,
So I don't want this to turn off. I just want
yeah.
everyone to say I just started doing sessions. I know you've been doing sessions and it like has really inspired me, but I started doing sessions again. I did them in the past. Now I'm doing them in a new energy. So I do 30-minute and 60-minute sessions. They're $1 a minute. I make it as cheap as I can for everybody to be able to do that. And what I do is I have conversations like this and I ask for your consent for me to tap into your higher self. And when I do that, as we have our conversations, I will receive downloads. And as I'm receiving them, I will mirror it back to what you are saying to yourself. So it's a direct cosmic channeled message session. That's what I do. And then at the end, I put all the key points together for you and I send it to you because you're not going to remember them all. So you can see all those different points. And so it's as simple as that. All you have to do is direct message me. I'm not doing like my Calendly setup right this moment. So just direct message me. It's simple and it's easy. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I offer. What is it that you're offering? I know because I've seen it, but what would you like to see?
Yeah. And I just want to say to anybody for Carlie, like she's helped me behind the scenes. Just the other day, she helped me have a huge epiphany breakthrough. And I was like, psh. So, we all have blind spots and that's what we help each other with. Yeah, I have a couple things that I offer. I have a coaching package. I do Reiki. I'm able to see into your quantum field. So I'm able to see into your energy field, your body, past lives, ancestral trauma, all that kind of stuff. And what I do is I look for the common thread of what is causing you to be, basically held back, right? So my sessions get a little, maybe like can get a little bit, maybe sometimes a little overwhelming. I don't want to say that for myself, but they can sometimes maybe be, people walk away, they're just like, whoa, that's why I call it the transformational shift session, because you got to come in wanting to change your life. So if you really are like at a place where you're just like stuck, it could be with health issues, it could be financial issues, whatever it is, what I found is there's always a common energetic thread in everything, relationships, health, wealth, everything, and identify it. So that's what I do, is identify the common thread that's causing you to be stuck. And then I just also offered because I know everybody, and I try to keep mine as cheap as I can. And I did just offer a cheaper one where it's a pre-recorded. So, and this is also for people who maybe don't have the time to come for a session, because I know a lot of you guys work a lot as well. So it's a pre-recorded psychic reading and energy reading session where all you have to do is send me your name, purchase the session. It's $53, and you just purchase the session. You get a recording, a 20 to 30-minute recording within 72 hours. And I've already gotten some feedback on those. And people are like, wow, I can't believe you're able to see this. Because again, I'm able to see right into your quantum field and connect with you in the quantum, because I go into trance-like states in my if I ever seem a little spacey, it's because I spend half of my time in the astral going into trance-like states.
Yeah. I could be in mid conversation and I've done it this live and I just go blank. Like I'm just
Yeah,
blank. I'm like, oh, what were we talking about with like that?
yeah.
But
And
I
then like,
love that you do that. That
yeah,
pre-recorded session, that is so smart to be able to,
yeah,
but to be able to do it, to not have to see them directly and just be able to connect into it. That's phenomenal.
thank
Really
you.
amazing master work.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, and I love it because that way I can help people. I was able to help 3 people in 2 hours the other day, which was
Wow.
amazing because I want, as our goal is to help as many people as possible. So,
Yeah.
and there'll be limited spots on that one a week, obviously, because I can only spend so much time doing that. But yeah, if it interests you to have a reading, and then you can even request a clearing because I can do a clearing on you as well, even without you sitting in front of me. I can do that as well. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Me and Kystina are talking about doing weekly sessions. Thank you. Aloha, body, mind, soul. I will check your direct message when I'm done. I'll immediately respond to you, okay? But me and Kystina are thinking about going either live every week and doing this or doing a pre-recorded podcast. So that way it's, better quality and whatever else. If you guys have any insight, if you like the lives better, because you can chat and you can talk, great, then we can do that. If you would rather, if you don't mind us just doing a pre-recorded podcast, or we could do both. We don't know. We don't know. We're being guided just like you guys,
Heartland,
but we're
yeah.
only doing it for you. It's for all of us. It's for me. It's for Kystina. It's for you guys. So give us the feedback so we can better serve you.
Yeah,
That's why we're
absolutely.
doing this.
Yeah. How can we help you? That's what I always say. How can I help you? That's what we're here for. And I just have this download, so I'm just going to plant this seed and then we can talk about it more. But we got the 8/8 portal next week, so maybe it would be awesome to do, even if it's like a live, we can do some type of,
Yep.
we can even do sessions here, like coaching stuff here, or we can do some type of meditation. I don't know. We can talk about it behind the scenes, but I feel like 8/8 portal is key to connect and get some people connected
Gives
together.
me chills. And I'm going to be in St. George on Saturday, Utah. I'm flying back to Utah this weekend to get my cat. Guys, listen, to get my cat, put him in a pet carrier and fly with my 15-pound cat in an airplane back to Jacksonville. So please send me some
Oh
love and
my gosh.
support because
Yeah.
I'm scared, okay? I've never flown with an animal on an airplane. I'm like, "Oh Lord." So that's what I'm doing. But the 8/8 portal, I'll either be in Utah or I'll be back here, but I'll make it happen no matter what. So
Okay, and I just want to offer to you, I do pet communication as well, so I'm able to connect with the soul of an animal. So if you want assistance with that, let me know, and we can do an energy clearing on her before you head on the road.
you know what would be cool is doing that on a recorded session for people to see. And you can
Yeah,
use my cat. Hell
yeah, that would be
yeah.
awesome. Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's cut it off before it cuts us off. So
Yeah,
I love
all right.
you. I
This
love
was
you guys.
awesome. I love you. Thank you for guiding me all of these years, and now thank you for being my friend and sister. I love it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.